In this lesson, we're going to be learning Don McLean's American Pie. One thing you need to know about this tune, the whole beginning, the whole intro, and there's a breakdown later in the tune, that's all piano. So we're just trying to emulate the piano, but we can't do it exactly on the guitar. So we have the basic chord structure, and I'm going to throw in some ideas that you can do to kind of some flourishes like the piano does, at least in that style. There's a lot of chords in this tune. They're not hard chords. They're all pretty much all open chords. G, E minor, D, C, A minor, stuff like that. But there's a lot to memorize or read if you're going to read along with the chart. But the intro, let's talk about the intro first. It sounds like this. I'm just going to play through it and just try to think of the melody and the lyrics in your head as I play it. Okay, so that was the whole intro, kind of emulating what the piano is doing. It's mainly just you're letting chords ring out a lot of half notes, but it's in free time. There's no real meter or beat here. You kind of just go with the flow, however you want to do it. And when you listen to the original recording, you're going to hear how it's real loose and just flowy. So there's no real time, there's no real solid tempo, so you can kind of be loose with it. Pretty easy chords there. The only thing to really pay attention to is this D over F sharp. So we got G, and this is a recurring theme, this G to D over F sharp to E minor. So the D over F sharp, I like to play that with my thumb. So I'm just thumbing the second fret of the low E string, muting this A string, let my thumb touch it so it doesn't sound out, and then you got to get the D, G, and B strings like you're playing a D chord. You really don't you don't have to hit the high E string. If you do, it's fine. But you're emulating like this descending bass line, basically, that the piano is doing. Now, if you can't, sometimes it's hard for us to use our thumb, so if you can't do that, you can always go like that, and use your first finger there. Just make sure you mute this A string. Just kind of let your first finger mute it, touch it. So that's the first part. And then we just go to an A minor, and then a C. Back to A minor, and then a D chord, but the piano kind of does a little arpeggio or a little flourish, so you can do whatever you want here, really. I think that's what I put down in the tab for you, but you can really do whatever. Whatever you feel like, sounds good to you. But just make sure it's within a D chord. But you can use, D sus 2 and 4 with the pinky there and taking your second finger off. Okay, so then it does kind of the same thing. We got the G, D sharp, or D over F sharp to E minor, A minor to C again, then back to E minor, and then back to C, and then D again with a little flourish. And then this is kind of the second part of the intro verse. It's kind of verse 1. This is where he says, February made me shiver, A minor, with every paper I delivered. And then you do that again. And then we have a little walk down, C, G over B to A minor. So that's C, G over B. So that's first finger, second fret A string, third finger, third fret B string. So we got to A minor, C, D. And then we have the last little part. It goes back to our recurring theme, G, D over F sharp, E minor, C, D. Then you do that again. And this would be they, the music, died. And that's G. And there the piano does a little flourish there too. You can do whatever you want there. And then we get into the chorus. The chorus is a lot easier to memorize, at least. The chorus is just G, C, and D, an E minor, and an A dominant 7 chord. So if you're playing A dominant 7, you can play it like this or like this. So second fret D string, second fret B string. So the chorus, the strumming pattern throughout this whole tune is just eighth notes. That's what's on the recording, but I'm gonna show you a alternate way to play it if you're playing it by yourself that sounds a little more musical, because he's really just going. And then we're into where the drums kick in and the second verse. So it's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's the original way. And it's G for 2 beats, so 4 eighth notes. Then C, same amount of time, G, D. All the same length of those chords. You do that 3 times. And then you go E minor, let that ring out for 4 beats to A7. Same thing, back to E minor. And then we go to a D7, and that's 2, 1, 2 in the open D string. And then he does a little movement here. And that's just, so we got down, up, down. Then you lift your third finger for 2 strokes. Then you put it back down for 2 strokes. Then you add your pinky on the 3rd fret for 2 strokes. Back, take your pinky off for 2 strokes. Finger off for 2 strokes. And then you end here. So and then it's into the next verse. So, couple things to note. When you're strumming like this, it's kind of hard to switch and get that last 8th note in before each chord changes. So what most guitar players do, it's a little trick, I think we've talked about it before, is that last upstroke is just open strings, any open strings, just to give your hand time to move to the next chord. If you see that, I'm playing it slow so you can see what I'm doing. you won't notice, you don't notice it when you're playing faster. And then we're into the where the rest of the band kicks in. So if you don't like how kind of robotic that is, even though that's how it's played on the original recording, you can always do like a down, down, up, down, down, up. You can change it a little bit like that. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Now that up, down, down, up, that's like kind of the open string thing that I was just talking about. So that's like an alternative strumming pattern that you can use. If that might sound a little more musical if you're playing by yourself. So now let's take a look at the verse. Okay, so now we're into the verse where the drums have kicked in and all that, and the tempo has sped up. So it starts on a G, and you play G for a bar, A minor for a bar, C for a bar, A minor for a bar. And then there's a lot more after that, but that's the first 4 bars. And in the recording, they're just playing eighth notes. And so on. Now, again, playing by yourself, it really doesn't feel that great to play it like that. So what I'm going to suggest is down, down, up, up, down, up. We've done that strum pattern a million times. It's used a lot. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. That sounds gives it a little bit better groove. So either way, you can do down, down, up, down, up, or you can do down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. However you want to play it. But the chords are G for a bar, then A minor for a bar, C, back to A minor, E minor, and then we have D, regular D chord, but it does the same little movement within it like we did on the D7. So all you're doing is lifting this, lift your second finger but down, then pinky off, then pinky up, and then, or second finger up, second finger back down. Like that. So, first part. And my suggestion is if you're going to do the down, down, up, down, up strum pattern, when you get to that D and it has that little movement in it, I would just play straight eighth notes there. Okay? So now, after that, it goes to a similar movement like we did in the intro, G to D over F sharp to E minor. So that bar is split. If you're following along in the tab, it's 36. G, D over F sharp, E minor. Now again, if you're doing that alternate strum pattern, you're not gonna be able to really do it on that bar. It would be like, I'd just do the eighth notes. And then when you get to the E minor, you go back to that strum pattern. Okay, and then moving on, we got A minor, C, E minor, A7, and then back to D, and the same thing. Same thing we did before. So this part goes. Then we go into where there's a couple stops. So we have E minor. We have 4 bars of just whole notes. We have E minor to D, E minor again, and D again. Okay, this is getting toward the end of the verse. It's a lot. It's a lot to remember, but these are all the same from here on out. So you really got to memorize it once. So we have E minor, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, C, G over B, A minor. So that's a similar thing that we did in the intro. C, G over B, A minor, C, D7. Okay, so we have okay, so I think we have maybe one more part of this verse. Nope, a few more. We're about halfway through this verse. So now, we'll go back to our theme. We're in bar 52 now. So we got G, D over F sharp, E minor, A minor, C. And then you do that again. And now we do the same walk down again, the G to the D over F sharp, E minor, C, D7, and now we have like a little turnaround thing before we go into the chorus, and it goes G, C, G, D, G, C, G, D. So it's a lot. It's not really complicated. It's just a lot to remember. There's a lot of chord changing. It's really the same, whatever, 5 or 6 chords in the song. And if you know, it might be easier to print out the tab and have the whole thing, because it's kind of hard on the computer to scroll quick enough to play through it if you're trying to sing along or whatever. But same strum pattern, whichever one you decide to use. It's just a matter of memorizing the chords in the order that they come, the arrangement. But it's really not anything terribly difficult. So that's your verse. They're long verses. So now we have a chorus, which is the same really as the one we played after the intro, but it's just faster. E minor, A7, E minor, and then our D7. Pretty much exactly the same. And it's going to be the same from here on out until the very end. So all it does is alternate between a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. I think there's 5 choruses, and then we get to a breakdown verse. Now when that breakdown verse comes and you hear the little piano come in, that's just like the intro. So you go back and play like what you played in the intro, that slow part that we're trying to emulate the piano. That's what you play in the breakdown verse toward the end of the song. Then we have another chorus that's slower, but same thing. It's the exact same thing, nothing changes there, except for it repeats, so we have a chorus out. And the only thing different about the chorus, the last chorus, is at the very end. So I'll play it for you. It goes. So the melody changes a little. If you'll notice on the very, very last chorus at the very end, it goes... and that's it. No new chords introduced or anything. That's the whole tune. So my suggestion would be to try to learn it, maybe print it all out so you can see it all on one page or a few pages, and then pull up the original recording if you have it, or pull it up on YouTube, American Pie by Don McLean, and try to play along with the tune. If you're perfectly in tune, your guitar is perfectly in tune, you might notice that it's not quite in tune with the recording because the recording is older and sometimes they did like a little bit flat tunings or a little sharp. It's not quite concert A 440 tuning, but you can play along. It's not going to be terrible. So there you have it. That's American Pie by Don McLean.